A very well-known influencer who is hooking up with a famous football player who has a wife and kids. Am I the asshole? Claimers is not my story time with sending me on Instagram. Lost my job in early 2020, obviously due to COVID. Instead of looking for another job, I set my mind to becoming famous on social media. Knew that I could make it happen, but I didn't know how yet. I did some research, so I basically started copying everything everybody else did. Like all the other famous influencers, dabbled in fashion, makeup, lots of lifestyle content, but finally I landed on bikini content. This just put me on a new level. Started gaining tons of followers. After posting every single day for about 6 months, I was almost at 400,000. This is when all the DMs started rolling in. I had really famous rappers, actors, athletes, comedians, other influencers, big YouTubers. I mean, the list goes on and on. So of course, I would reply to all of their DMs. Some offered to fly me out to see them, and others were living in the same city that I was. So I basically started going out on dates. The first date I ever went on was with a rapper. I don't want to give too many details because I think you guys could guess who this is. He was very popular in 2010s. I mean, he's still popular now, but he made a lot of good music then. Anyway, he had me come over to his house, spent the night at his house, and we basically talked the entire night. Surprisingly, we had really good conversations, and that was that. And I got a DM from a really big football player who I knew was already married and had kids. That didn't stop me from messaging him back. Part 2 is up. I'm a well-known influencer who's hooking up with a famous football player who's married and has kids. Am I the asshole? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It's sending me on Instagram. When I saw his DM, I quickly answered. Sent me little heart eyes. So I replied back with some hearts. Then he asked me where I lived. I told him that I was in LA and he said, okay, cool. I can fly you out. I said, sure. Literally the next day, I was flying first class to go see this guy. Got me a suite at a really nice hotel. He said he would show up at 7, but he actually showed up at 11 p.m. By this point, I was already in my pajamas and my skincare. Once he came up to the room, he apologized for being so late. That's when he said that he liked that I wasn't wearing makeup. Which makes me laugh so much because before he arrived, I had a full face of makeup on and a freaking cocktail dress and heels. He said that I was a natural beauty. That's when he basically ordered the entire menu from the hotel. He ordered steak, pasta, pancakes, waffles, French toast, champagne, and a bunch of other stuff. He asked me if I wanted a salad. I said yes. While we were waiting for the food, he started kissing me and we basically ended up doing it. It happened really quick. It was over in like 2 minutes. Afterward, he kissed me and then the food came. He proceeded to eat almost everything that he ordered, but he left me some salad and fries. That was it. It's like he was telling me that he only wanted me to eat salad. After that, he started asking me questions like if I was dating other people. Said no, but I was going on dates. When he told me that he only wanted me to be exclusive with him, that he would fly me out whenever he was available. I said yes, but I knew that I wasn't going to go through with that because I'm not going to be traveling for him all the time. Part 3 is up. I'm a well-known influencer who's hooking up with a famous football player who has a wife and kids. Am I the asshole? Claimers is not my story time. Was sending me on Instagram. That's when he told me he wanted me to be exclusive with him, that he would basically fly me out whenever he wanted. Obviously said yes to his face, but I was not planning on it. Would I be flying around the country to go see this one guy? Good news is when I got back home, I had a bunch of new DMs. So I went on a few more dates. I went on a date with a very famous YouTuber. It was super fun, really casual, and didn't really expect anything from me, which was really nice. When we went on our date, he actually treated me like a queen. If this guy asked me to be his girlfriend, I would totally say yes in a heartbeat. Then the football player actually ended up calling me the same night that I was on the date with the YouTuber. Decided to go to the bathroom and answer the phone. That's when he started acting all jealous and asked me where I was. He said that I should be home resting and ready to go see him again. He asked me if I could fly out the next day. I said no because I did have a modeling job, thank God. I mean, a girl needs to make money. Then he said that he would start giving me an allowance of $5,000 a month. I said yes to in a heartbeat. So I ended up canceling the modeling job. I flew out the next day to go see him and he actually gave me the $5,000. Said that every time I saw him, he would give me more. But here's the thing, he has a wife and kids and I do feel bad about that. This has been happening now for a few months. I have more money now than I ever had. And I'm still modeling on the side, so I'm making my own money. I'm still going out on dates with other guys. What should I do?
Story time. My dad got my half-brother's girlfriend pregnant. A little background information. This all happened a few years ago. Anyways, my brother was fresh out of high school and he had been dating this girl named Serena for 2 years. And my dad, for some reason, hated her. At least that's what we thought. Well, my brother didn't have a license at the time, so every time that she came over, she needed somebody to drop her off at home. So my dad would always offer to drop her off at home, even though he literally hated her. And he could have just ordered her an Uber. Which is what he did with all of my friends. Well, the one night her parents called and they were like, hey, like, is Serena still there? She hasn't came home yet. And my dad said that he was dropping her off. So I called my dad and he said that they ran out of gas on the side of the road. So that was just like one incident. Well, the next morning my mom goes to get in the car for work and she finds a thong in the car. So she brings it in the house and she asks me, hey, is this yours? Meanwhile, I had never seen them before. So then she goes and asks my half-brother and my dad's whose they are. Part 2 about how my dad got my half-brother's girlfriend pregnant. So like I said, my mom found that thong in the car. She came and asked me if it was mine. I said no. So then she asked my dad and my brother whose they were. So she asked my dad first. He said, I don't know whose they are. He said they probably just fell out of Serena's bag. And then she asked my brother. And my brother said, oh, those are Serena's. So after that, my brother came in my room. And he was like, do you think it's weird that the same underwear that Serena was wearing before she left ended up in the car? So I guess she had the underwear on literally before she fucking left the house. Dumb bitch alert. Anyway, so a few weeks later, Serena breaks up with my brother. Well, around the same time, my dad started staying after work really late, like every day of the week. Well, long story short, my mom went through his phone because she felt like something was going on, and she reads a conversation between my dad and Serena. Like, oh, I'm so sad that you couldn't come to the ultrasound. So then my mom and him divorced, and he's currently raising his child with Serena.
Am I wrong for telling a friend the real reason why a coworker wants to date him? I, 24 female, have a friend from work, 26 male, Ben. Over the years, coworkers told me that Ben was interested in me, but I brushed it off. When I met Ben, I had a boyfriend who is now my husband. Ben met him and was even invited to our wedding, so the thought of him liking me was ridiculous. I ended up confronting him about it, and he said that he did like me at first, but stopped once he realized I was taken. My husband knows this and is totally fine with it. I never saw Ben as anything more than a friend. 2 months ago, I caught a coworker, Kat, 23 female, crying in the parking lot after work. I asked what was wrong, and she told me that her boyfriend broke up with her and left the country after they found out she was pregnant, and she insisted on keeping the baby. Kate is white with blue eyes and blonde hair, and so is her ex. Most people in my country are tan and have brown eyes with black hair. This info was important later on. After the breakup, Kate went out on dates every day. The guys had one thing in common: blue eyes, blonde hair. I joked that she must have a type, but she told me that she was looking for someone to father her baby, so they had to look similar to her ex so the baby could pass as country are tan and have brown eyes with black hair. This info was important later on. After the breakup, Kate went out on dates every day. The guys had one thing in common: blue eyes, blonde hair. I joked that she must have a type, but she told me that she was looking for someone to father her baby, so they had to look similar to her ex so the baby could pass as theirs. This horrified me, but it wasn't my place to tell her anything. A month ago, Ben and I had lunch where he told me he started dating Kat. Ben is the only guy in our office with blonde hair and blue eyes. I told him dating Kat might not be the best idea. After lunch, I went up to Kate and told her what she was doing is wrong and asked her not to do this to my friend. She laughed it off and said it's okay, he won't find out. I stayed quiet for a while, but eventually told Ben he should seriously stop dating Kate. He said he figured I'll try to break them up because I'm jealous. Man, I was disgusted before finally saying to not come crying to me when he realizes Kate is only dating him so another man's baby could have a father. I stopped talking to Ben shortly after, and everything was relatively peaceful in the office. That was until Kate announced she's pregnant. I could see the color drain from Ben's face as he looked in my direction. A huge fight broke out between the two of them after Ben demanded a paternity test while Kate tried to convince him it wasn't necessary. Kate called me later screaming that I ruined her life, so my guess is they broke up. The thing is, they really do deserve each other, so I'm starting to wonder whether I made the right decision by telling Ben the truth. If I hadn't, they probably would have gotten married and the baby would have had a loving father to look after him. Me personally, I would want to know. So I'd be thankful for someone like you if people knew and didn't tell me. If you're my friend, you do it.
Story time about how my husband accidentally told me that he was cheating on me. So just some background information. My husband and I got engaged 2 years ago, and this whole situation happened a month after we got married. So fast forward, it's a Sunday morning. Well, usually every week on Sunday, I clean the whole house. So I woke up, went into the bathroom to take my ring off, and I could not get it off. Mind you, I had gained a little bit of weight since my husband and I got engaged. Anyways, I tried butter, I tried soap, I tried everything, even oil. So after trying to get it off for an hour straight, my finger was 3 times bigger than it usually is. So at this point, I'm really scared that I'm going to have to get it cut off. Because 1, I didn't want to ruin it, and 2, it was really expensive. So I call my husband and he's like, oh, call your dad. Firefighters always know what to do. So I called my dad and thank God he lived 5 minutes away because he drove over really quickly. Like for part 2. Part 2 of how my husband accidentally told me that he was cheating on me. So like I said, my dad lived 5 minutes away, so he just rushed over to my house. And we tried a few more things to get it off. We tried Windex, we tried the dental floss, none of it was working. So my dad told me that we were going to have to cut it off with pliers. So he comes over with the pliers, cuts the ring off. Well, a few days later, I had taken it to the same place that we got it to get the band fixed. Or replaced. While I was there, I decided to get it appraised, just for insurance reasons. So a few days later, I go and pick up my ring, and when I get home, I look at the appraisal. It was not the same one that I had picked out in the store. It looked exactly like it, but there was like a $20,000 price difference. So right now, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not mad about the money part. I'm more mad that my husband lied to me. I was more upset about the fact that he had lied to me. So I had made dinner reservations for the next night so that way I could hopefully bring up the conversation about it. Like for part 3 of how my husband accidentally told me that he was cheating on me. So like I said, I had made reservations for him and I to go out to dinner so that way I could hopefully spark up the conversation about it. So when we finally sat down, I had started up the conversation. I had told him that when I took my ring in to get it fixed, I also got it appraised. And his face immediately changed after that, but he wasn't saying anything. He was like, oh, okay, how did that go? So at this point, I was tired of beating around the bush, and I was like, why wouldn't you just tell me if we were having money troubles? And he was like, what do you mean? We're not having any money troubles. I'm fine. One thing about my husband is that he is very wealthy. And he takes pride in the fact that he is very wealthy. So obviously, me right there kind of questioning his wealth, he fucked up and told me the truth. He was like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I accidentally gave the ring that I was supposed to give you to a girl I was seeing at the time. And I just never got around to replacing yours. So fast forward to present day, I am currently moving all of my stuff out of our house and filing for divorce.
My boyfriend's friends call me fat and ugly, and my boyfriend doesn't defend me. Disclaimers is not my story time. I sent me on Instagram. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 3 months. We're both in our early 20s, and his friends are a tiny bit older. Some of these guys are already married, but they always try to convince my boyfriend to not get married. And here's how things started. A few weeks ago, we all had a pool party. They all brought their wives and girlfriends, and all of these women have had plastic surgery. I'm talking BBLs, lip filler, everything. Me, on the other hand, I'm completely natural. I'm on the skinny side, so I don't have a lot of fat in my body. That means I don't have a lot of curves. But my boyfriend has told me time and time again that he loves my body. We're both really attracted to each other, and I've never in my life been told that I'm ugly or fat. I'm not sure how it came up. During the pool party, the men started rating all the girls at the party. They were trying to do it behind our backs, but I happened to hear the conversation. No, my boyfriend didn't say anything. He kind of just stayed quiet. Guess who they started with first? Me. They said I was a hard 4, that I didn't have a womanly body, and that my face was too angular. And one of them straight up said she's kind of ugly. They all started to laugh, and they rated the rest of the girls there. Everyone else was pretty much a 9 and a 10. But the entire time, my boyfriend stayed quiet. This obviously really upset me. Went to the bathroom and just cried for the rest of the night. My boyfriend came looking for me part 2. Boyfriend's friends call me fat and ugly, and he doesn't defend me. Disclaimers in my story time. Send me on Instagram. I basically spent the entire night in the bathroom crying. Boyfriend came over and knocked on the door. He instantly started apologizing to me. He knew that I had heard the entire conversation and told me that he was sorry. I asked him why he didn't defend me, and he said that he didn't want to go against his friends, that they were his only group of friends, and that he didn't want to get on their bad side. I told him next time he needed to defend me, that if he didn't do it, then I would. And he said, please don't get into a fight with them. They're really cool guys. I ended up leaving the party, and I didn't say bye to anybody. A few weeks later, I had to hang out with them again. But this time, they started talking about the way that I was dressed. One of them said that the dress I was wearing made me look really pudgy. And again, they would all laugh. And yeah, they said all of this in front of me. I looked at my boyfriend and said, are you not going to defend me? And they all started laughing at my boyfriend. By the way, if I haven't mentioned this, they all went to the same sorority, so I think they still have that sorority mentality. One of the wives that was there thankfully stepped in and told them that they were all assholes and that they needed to leave me alone because I looked good. A few hours later, somebody was talking about kissing, and one of them asked my boyfriend what it was like to kiss me because I had 0 lips. I instantly stormed out of the party. My boyfriend followed me. Part 3 is my boyfriend's friends call me ugly and fat, and he doesn't defend me. Disclaimers in my story time. I sent me on Instagram. They told him it must have been awful kissing me because I had 0 lips. Instantly ran out of the house and went to my car. I was so humiliated, and once again my boyfriend did not defend me. He followed me to my car, and I asked him if he loved me or not. He said he did love me, that his friends and him just had a different way of talking about girls. I told him that hurting my feelings was not a different way of talking. A few hours after I got home, one of the wives started texting me. She told me that his friends spent the whole night bad-mouthing me, and that essentially they were trying to convince my boyfriend to break up with me. They kept telling him that he could do better than me, that I had no ass and no boobs, that I was simply just not pretty enough. Finally, my boyfriend did tell him that he thought I was beautiful and that he liked me. That's when they all told him that he needed to get glasses. Here's the best part. A few hours after they all started getting even drunker, he told me that one of the friends started saying that he would want to F me and that it looked like I was probably good in the sack. What? So they want me, but they don't want me? That's when she told me her theory. She said that they probably found me somewhat attractive and that they didn't want my boyfriend to be with me because they wanted me. I feel like that's a little bit far-fetched. It's kind of like the thing in school they tell you. If a boy bothers you, it means that he likes you. Maybe it's true. Either way, I told my boyfriend that I would never hang out with his friends again, but I am thinking of breaking up with him. Can't believe that he wouldn't defend me, not even a little bit. And when he did, I wasn't even present. Also, the way they talk about women is just disgusting. I do love him though. What should I do?